The PowerField PowerRack is possibly the simplest, quickest to set up panel rack on the market. It could also be the only solar panel mount that we know of that could be both permanent and portable. But is it the right solution for you, or should you spend a little bit more money and get something just a little bit beefier? So welcome back to the lab where our opinions cannot be bought. Lately, we've been testing a bunch of different solar panel ground mount options, and Signature Solar told us that they sell a ton of these things, so we wanted to see why. These things are made in the US. They are by far the fastest and easiest things to set up that we have ever seen. They're also the cheapest ground mount option I think available on the market right now. As always, if you guys are interested at any point, we will leave links to this down in the description below, as well as any coupon codes that we can get from Signature Solar for you guys. But before we jump into our experience using the PowerRack, we're gonna hit you guys with a super quick teardown in case you're not already familiar with this giant Rubbermaid bin. First up, these things are relatively light. They pass the tiny baby lift test no problem. They only weigh about 17 pounds. They're made of a high density polyethylene, basically nice thick plastic. They say it has a long lasting UV resistance and weather resistance. They're actually rated for like 45 years of lifespan. The warranty is about 10 years, but I think they're in the middle of, or they just finished extending the warranty to 25 years, which goes to show you that they do probably believe in the actual lifespan of these. They're a pretty simple design. They have a nice tread on the bottom, so they'll grip any surface you put them on. They have the holes in the bottom as well, so you could stake them nicely. There's little dimples right here on the side, which is really nice for cable management. It makes everything really clean. It does come with these little extender clips as well, so if your panel is slightly bigger, you can basically slide this onto the top right here. It gives you an extra couple of inches. And then you have your standard clips for the bottom as well. These basically just slip in down here, they grab your panel, and then you lock it in with the little plastic retaining clip. Very easy. If you sit them flat on the ground, they have a 25-degree slope for your panel, and they also have about 10 degrees worth of wiggle room because the bottom of this isn't really flat. It's rounded and treaded, so you could technically put this on like a little bit of a hill and still put it on its side. The treads will still be there. You could still anchor it to the ground. They can be mounted both permanently and temporarily. We'll get into that a little bit more later. And there is two options. There's the 1000 or the 1200. Basically, the 1200 is just a little bit bigger. It's for a little bit of a bigger panel. This one is the 1000. It's for a little bit smaller panels. They don't really say, it works for 100 watt or 200 watt or whatever. It's more so just dimensionally. You have to measure your panels and see if they will fit to the dimensions of the bin. And right now on Signature Solar's website, these guys are on sale for $75, which is the cheapest option that we've ever seen. So the first thing that we really like about these PowerRacks is that they are both permanent and portable, meaning that they're super fast and simple to set up. Like there's no instruction needed. Throw it on the ground, put something in it. The panel literally slides in and clips to the top, and then you have your bottom clip. Like it is the easiest thing. Your grandma could set it up. But they're also very light, and you could stack a bunch of these if you're like a touring festival or something that needs power, even like a food truck. Realistically, you could put these all in the back of your food truck, stack them all up, throw your panels, you pull up to wherever you're going, throw it on the ground, throw a couple bags of sand in it, use it for the weekend, use it for a week, take your sand out, take your panel off, and you're back out. And you could do that all the time. It's got the clips if you want to use a little bit of a bigger panel. There's a chart for how much to actually fill it based on how big of a panel or your wind speeds that you're going to be using it for. And if you already have a project going on, like you're already excavating for a house or building something, it's easy just to dump dirt in here and you're set. It's also cool that these are kind of modular, so you could have one small panel on one bin, you could have a big panel on two bins, or you could do it so that like a panel ends halfway through and another panel starts. There's a ton of different ways you could use these, and depending on how much money you're trying to spend or how big your panels are or whatever, you don't have to go all out like 2 per panel and go crazy. You can use them like a regular set of legs where it's just this panel comes over, stops here, and the next one starts. Basically only need 1 bin per panel. Yeah. If they fit, if the panels fit. We'll get into that later. They usually don't fit. And something else to note with these is that we just had health and safety drag a massive Chico mount out to his off-grid property, which was a lot of work. Something like this, you could stack up a ton of these, throw it on the back of the ATV with 1 strap and rip them out. Like it's very easy to move these wherever you need them. It's something we don't talk about a lot, but especially with panel mounts, like you're not carrying a lot of weight and big bulky boxes way off grid to set them up, which is really nice. They do say they have wind tunnel testing. We personally, just from experience, think that these are gonna be really good in the wind because they're so low to the ground. In our experience, like a big panel way up high, you get a lot of wind going under and above, so it's easy to kind of turn it into a kite. With this, there's no wind really coming from underneath, and the panel's gonna hang so low to the ground anyways that it's just gonna be a lot more stable in a windy environment due to how low it is to the ground. The most annoying thing about the PowerRacks by far is that they are a very specific size. They don't just work with a 200 watt to 400 watt solar panel, they work dimensionally. So we don't have panels here at the lab that actually fit this properly. When we have a ton of panels, we have everything from 100 watts all the way up to a 570, and none of the panels that we have properly fit this thing. You kind of have to go with the measurements that this gives you for the range of panels it'll fit, and you're gonna have to do your own research to find panels that will fit the bins. Basically, we have a bunch of panels that'll slide into the top and then hang off the bottom, but you can't properly secure them on the bottom. Good news is you can easily contact Signature Solar. They'll hook you up with the right size of panel. They sell both the PowerRacks and just a million different solar panel options. So that's where we would recommend going if you're gonna buy this thing with panels. But it is just one of those like frustrating things where you're gonna have to buy a very specific group of panels to get them to properly clamp on top and bottom to the bins. In our opinion, I know that they're trying to make it so that you could stretch them all out lengthwise, but it would be cool if there was some sort of clip attachment on the side so that even if you had a smaller 200 watt or 170 watt panel that you could put vertically, you could grab it from the side, and then at least if it's not long enough to go here or it's too long and it overhangs, you could still grab it another way. The fact that there's only 2 mounting points is the frustrating part. If there was options for side mounting points as well, you'd be able to get a lot more panels to bolt up to this thing. The other thing that we don't love about these PowerRacks is that their mounting clips are just plastic. I mean, you can either slide the panel into here at the top, which is one option, or you could use the extender pieces, which is the other option, both of which are thick, but they're just plastic. In our experience, we're always tightening panels down and making sure that they're bolted to something. And in this case, this little piece of plastic is gonna grab your solar panel, and then you're gonna put in this tiny little retaining clip that holds it on. In my opinion, winter is really gonna screw with the longevity of this if you have to pull this out in the winter for whatever reason. We all know plastic loves to explode in cold temperatures. The bin I have faith in, the bin feels nice. These adapters and things, I don't necessarily think they're gonna last you 45 years. We also don't love that people get really sold on the idea of this because it's cheap, but the pricing doesn't reflect the finished product. For example, this bin was $75 plus taxes. Then you get it here and you realize you gotta fill it with something. Now, if you're building and you have raw materials everywhere, okay, it's free. But if not, you gotta pay for some sort of ground anchor, assuming it's permanent, and some sort of fill, whether that's rocks, gravel, sand. Even if you're using these as like a modular setup and you're gonna bring them to other places and you're using bags of sand, there's still labor or money that has to go into actually securing this to the ground on top of your 85 bucks, which, sure, bags of sand and gravel and all that stuff's not too expensive, but at the end of the day, it's gonna get you a lot closer to the price of a nicer panel stand than you would think. Assuming you're using proper ground anchors and you're actually filling this with material and not building a kite. And the last thing that we don't really like, there's not a lot, is just that they aren't the prettiest thing ever. They're low to the ground, so you're gonna need to maintain your grass line in front of them all the time to make sure grass doesn't grow too high and block the sun. But they just look like bins. Like, we have a ton of things going on in the yard. A lot of them look like proper panel stands, and this just looks like Rubbermaid bins with panels on it. And that might not matter to you, and that might be the whole point, that they're only 75 bucks, which is fine. But when you have them all laid out, if you have them in like a massive line, a lot of photos that we've seen too of people with them in like farm fields or whatever against fences, you'll see them be all wavy and like moving around because they're just thrown on the ground with panels on them. They're not perfect. It's a viable, working, cheap option. So look, we personally understand why people are buying these so much. They're a really cool and affordable option, especially if you're looking for something portable. We honestly thought at first they might be overhyped, but I really don't think they are. I think they're a very versatile option. So make sure you guys check the description down below. We will get any coupon codes for you that we can to help you save some money on these guys. that is all we got for you guys. Let us know what you think, and let us know if there's any other panel stands that you want to see us review. Otherwise, that is all we got for you guys. We will catch you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out and stay charged. There's another fucking fly. Oh, there's two. I see the fly again. I'm gonna get this motherfucker. You little bitch. See, then they stand up. How do they do that? How are flies like bulletproof, dude? You fucking hit a fly and it just goes.